Well says that you... Oh, man. Whoa, extremist right now. I'm sorry. We're so radical. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And also, I also came across this website, the Illuminati / like a minus sign in between the and Illuminati.net. And it's basically them saying everything we say except saying they're the good guys, kind of.
Well, that's always standard branding. I appreciate your call. I think I may have even seen that before. There are thousands of websites that say, we're the good guys, but everybody else is an agent. And, there it is, Reuters. Abortion safer than giving birth. Like you're not... And now they're saying maybe it's abusive to have babies. Maybe you should... We're not sure what this means, but should you even be allowed to get pregnant, then it could be abusive. But going back to what you're saying... That's a standard deal. Some of it's COINTELPRO. I don't know about individual sites you're talking about, specifically, but Cass Sunstein talks about cognitive dissonance, operating and posing as anti-establishment, anti-corruption, a conspiracy theorist, someone who goes, no, breastfeeding's good. Children have always breastfed. That's why we develop mammary glands, and it's natural. I mean, you see the war on breastfeeding. Women totally cover themselves up at the mall. There's all these scantily clad women everywhere. That's fine. Kiosk with women in G-strings selling, negligees and half-naked women on billboards, women flashing their breasts at the Super Bowl, flipping people off. All of that's okay. But I've actually seen in restaurants and other places, you read about in the news all the time, where a woman is breastfeeding at the table at the restaurant. All you do is put a blanket over, boom, no big deal. And people act like it's bad because it's like they've been programmed that life is evil. And a woman with a baby, there's just something wrong. It's drinking milk. Ooh, it's gross. They've lost their life force. I mean, you should be happy to see a woman nursing a baby. That's like the tribe is doing good. There's babies. We're living. But anything that's wholesome is bad. Everything evil is good. But Cass Sunstein and others, they say sunshine isn't good for you. You should arrest anybody that's a conspiracy theorist. They're criticizing electric cars, shut down their websites. I mean, they're all calling for it right now because their craziness, people are finally waking up out of the trance. But I do see this. Almost everyone we've ever helped, sold books for, videos for, supported, promoted. There's almost no one that I ever had on the show, supported, promoted, that doesn't down the road start attacking us because somehow they think that is a one-up and like elevates them. It's like a primitive idea that if somebody could shoot me down, that would make them more successful, or by creating infighting, that's the kind of attention they want. We never infight here, and we never talk about folks, even if we think they're operatives, until we can absolutely prove it. Now, in the case of Hal Turner, who was attacking myself almost every day, I'm a big white supremacist, I could tell he was a Fed just by watching him and listening. It was 100% obvious, and I called him out. I said, that guy's a Fed. And his website did get hacked. People got his emails where he was a high-level national security agent, asset for the FBI and the National Security Council. So the feds went ahead and put him in prison, and it came out in federal court. He was an FBI highest-level asset, but the state court still convicted him, and he went to jail. So that shows you what the feds do to their own people. I mean, occasionally, if it's so super obvious, I'll do it. But I mean, I've had people just completely make up stuff before. Alex Jones called me up and threatened to kill me. And that's like saying I called up and said I'm the Jolly Green Giant from Pluto. I mean, I might as well said Alex Jones called up and told me he was an Easter Bunny or a Keebler elf or the Eggman or the Walrus Cuckoo Cachoo. But lies that are so bold, so big. And it's done because I'm number one. I mean, that's why all the different media outlets attack Drudge, because he's number one when it comes to media online. We're number one when it comes to Patriot movement, liberty. Even Time Magazine got it right and called me the what was the quote? The prophet of the Tea Party. Well, I am the prophet of the Tea Party. Ron Paul is the grandfather of the Tea Party. And then we're told you're not welcome at Tea Party events. You know, Ron Paul signs aren't welcome. We're going to stomp on your feet. You know, we're the new neocon Tea Party. We took over the old Tea Party, and now the real people aren't invited. See, I don't try to get up here and toot my horn. I give you reports on we're reaching 15 million people a week and growing exponentially. I give you reports on successes we're having, but others are happening. We're here explaining we can win. And evil isn't in total control, and evil isn't all-powerful, and not everybody fighting evil is a government operative. In fact, very few are. You understand that? This idea, you always know government operatives because they'll operate for a year, never generally longer, and then do nothing but infight, and then just kind of fade away, and you hear about them getting a PR job or whatever, you know, with some globalist operation. It's always the same MO. And you know, people bring stuff up like that because it's so tantalizing to get into a soap opera of personalities. I don't ever do that. And that's one reason I've been so successful. It never hurts me to be attacked, especially by people I don't know. In fact, I relish it, and it's kind of a sin. It's entertaining. The wilder the lies, the better. But as I've tried to be spiritually, you know, better and not get off on, you know, sick little entertainments I've given up even tracking or watching what people say about me. I mean, I never really tracked it closely, but if it fell in my lap, I would have a little bit of enjoyment, you know, out of it. And in a way, people attacking us and lying about us also got the word out about us. I mean, it only made us bigger. So I'm thankful and appreciate that. God turns every weapon formed against us into something positive. No weapon formed against us will prosper. I want to go back to your calls. This is an important subject, so I hardly ever talk about it. As the jealousy level just intensifies and gets greater and greater, you got operatives, you got disinfo agents, you got COINTELPRO, but mainly it's not even that. And that's what's sad about it, is that it is absolute, complete, abject jealousy. And I'm genuinely worried about the superflus and about the airborne Ebola they've cooked up that kills over 90% of the mammals it comes in contact with. I'm really worried about that getting out at all these government labs where they're breeding it. I'm genuinely worried about a big solar storm knocking out power grids and reactors melting down. And so is the government's own internal reports that we were just covering last hour. I'm genuinely worried about all that. I'm not worried about, you know, looking the best or my or how fancy things are or going to award ceremonies or my ego. I am more into a genetic ego of human race surviving and going to the stars and pride in my species and optimism and love of science and love of honor and goodness and decency. And I'm quite frankly more ashamed of myself because I am aware of the higher things. I'm also aware of the lower things and can see that my greatest works are like dirty rags. They are. They're dirty rags. And then I see people wearing equally or even more dirty rags, squatting in their own spiritual excrement, proud like peacocks, strutting around, fighting with each other, and it hurts me because they're so spiritually blind. That's how I am hurt by things. And I've made myself give up on sins I have, like the enjoyment of being attacked. Not in a sadomasochistic way. It's not like that. It's like it's funny. Watching the jealousy, seeing people burning in jealousy and knowing I'm superior, I'm more intelligent, I'm more effective, I'm more dynamic, I have more zeitgeist lightning in my soul. It's sad that the people recognize that. And instead of upping their game and getting closer to God and creation and resonating with the universe, that they're such dim lights. And it's sad. I should try to pick them up. And I realize a lot of times it's when I try to build somebody up and they get a taste of success. It's not that they wanted to be successful to fight evil. They wanted to be successful to be little movie stars. And so then they hate the person that tried to give them a hand up because you're helping someone who is fighting for breath, who's going under the waves, who's a drowning man, a drowning woman. And so you can't help them. They don't know how to swim. They're never going to know how to swim. they're probably never going to make it. They're probably never going to truly live. So you're there trying to lift them up, and instead they're just trying to get on top of you and shove you under. And then after you're under, they're going to go back under the water. They just know that they've got to get you under there because they're down here and you're up here, and they'd be okay if you were down here. You got to just move on from people like that and find those that do want to learn how to swim. That's who's going to build the future. I just saw a headline on Fox News. Scientists want to experiment with babies that come from 3 parents and bring them to term and birth them. And it'll be a new type of humanoid. Of course, they've already done this with monkeys, apes, and humans. They just kill them at the embryonic level. And they say it'll eradicate diseases. See, in the future, by law, if you have any predisposed conditions, they're not going to let you have a kid. And they're going to come in and tell you, we're going to go in and inject some other DNA from someone else to cover that up. And of course, Lord knows what other problems it'll cause. This is the type of out-of-control New World Order stuff that's going on. And there's the headline there if you're watching on prisonplanet.tv. So this is all going to become mandatory. Everything's got to be done in a test tube. That's why the breastfeeding's evil. You know, half the women are getting these cesareans when the doctors know they don't need them. It's about medicalizing everything, taking over, monopolizing. Tara in Virginia, you're on the air.
Can you hear me?
I sure can. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. I wanted to make a request and make a couple of comments for some websites and YouTube channels that might be helpful for listeners to get information about different things regarding in the direction of nuclear fallout and that sort of thing. Number one, with your, the music that you use in between your clips that you have between your different sections. Do you think you could make a underneath your daily show? Would you make like a list of what you've used so that we could find it and buy it from iTunes if we want to?
Yeah, well, my show, you're talking about the music list, sure. Well, that's just bumper music. Those are just short clips, but you can pretty much get the Kazaa program on an iPhone and then hold it up to whatever the song is, and it'll tell you what it is. But that is a good idea you actually have there. As for YouTube and websites about nuclear fallout, there's a ton of free information about how to protect yourself during fallout. But we're not talking about how to protect ourselves individually after this happens. We're trying to stop it from happening. They need to build more clean-burning coal plants or whatever, or stop shutting off our pipelines, or allow alternative energy to be developed, not the fake green stuff that the establishment pushes that's about mega companies. The system should be promoting individual off the grid for each home, which is very cost effective, but they try to block it so that we're not all dependent on massive grids that if they fail could knock civilization back 100 years and cause serious problems. We're discussing how to head off these problems before they get here. But I appreciate your call. Interesting points. I want to go to Sean in Wyoming. Let's give him about a minute. Sean in Wyoming, you're on the air.
Hey, Alex, how you doing?
Good.
Good. Hey, I'm the guy that called you about the sheeple Christmas cards a couple weeks ago. I just want to thank you for the nightly report that you did on that, because I'm able to wake up a lot.
That's why I love calls and your emails. You guys tell, Fox admits, for those that just tuned in, that they put out Christmas cards to the competition showing their listeners as sheep pulling their sleigh.
Yep, and another thing I want to tell you about is I'm a local musician. I'm a rapper. I go by the name Super Manning here in Wyoming. I'm #1 on the radio charts on ReverbNation.com. And I made a song that's a tribute to you, Mr. Alex Jones. It's called Road to Tyranny, and I would like you to check it out on your free time if you ever get a chance. The website is www.reverbnation.com/Super Manning.
Okay, let me ask you this. Is it on YouTube?
No, it's not on YouTube. No, not yet. I'll probably have it on there, but it's on Reverb Nation.
Yeah, we'll just slap it up there on YouTube, and if we get a chance to see it and everything, we'll post it on Infowars.com. God bless you, my friend. All right, a lot of crazy stuff going on. Got to most of the news. Great job with the crew. See you back tonight, 7 o'clock, Prisonplanet.